As we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, some of the names popping up for consideration by a Biden administration, I mean, far left. Barcera, we just talked about him, Attorney General in California, far left. I think on FRC issues when he was in Congress, he was a former member of Congress, he voted against FRC's positions like 127 times. But when you combine that with what we've been seeing in corporate America over really accelerating in the last 5 to 6 years. I mean, this could be, as I said earlier, going into the break, kind of a marriage between Frankenstein and Godzilla when it comes to social issues. Case in point, Nasdaq, they have a proposal with the SEC that would require one board member from every publicly traded company who is from an underrepresented minority, or being gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, forcing businesses to make what happens in people's bedrooms a part of the boardroom. Join me now to talk more about this, Dan Celia, President and CEO of Financial Issues Stewardship Ministries, and nationally syndicated radio and TV host of Financial Issues on more than 660 stations across America. Dan Celia, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Tony, it's great to be back with you. Thank you for having me on. I wish we weren't talking about what we're going to talk about, but I am glad to be here with you.
Well, I think people need to realize what we're looking at when you have corporate America, and I'll have to say, I believe Donald Trump and his policies have been holding them back. They would have already been there. But when you combine that with the Biden administration, I think people need to be aware of what is around the corner.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Tony. And this is a horrifying thing when the Nasdaq is pushing this. Look, they're not going to have any trouble getting the proposal through because who's going to say no to it? There's nobody that's going to say no to it. They don't want to get clobbered by, they want to be light. They don't care about what their thinking is. This is a classic case of their ideology driving what is right for their company and what is right for America. I mean, it's sad, but it's going to happen. And here's the thing that I don't want your listeners to forget. So don't listen to this and say, it's not a big deal, so it's one board member. It's two board members. It's not a big deal. We don't want to discriminate against anybody. Let them on the board. No. That's not the problem. That's not even the issue. The issue is what they will bring with them. They will influence the company and the board to start supporting financially these agendas. This is going to be a key component. It's like having the president of the United Way on your board. Where do you think? Why do you think he's there? He's there to influence the board for the United Way. Or if you have someone from Planned Parenthood to influence the board, that influence is going to carry a lot of weight. There's going to be your stockholder money, your earnings. You own part of the company if you own stock in that company. And that money is going to be going to feed this agenda that is going to give them the kind of propaganda money that they're going to need to make sure this gets into every school from kindergarten up, these agendas. It is a much bigger threat than we might think.
Dan Celia, what is the point of having boards of directors? Is it not the, number one, to make sure the business operates according to the law and they return a profit to their stockholders? Don't you want people that know what they're doing when it comes to running a business, being on a board?
Absolutely, because they have one job, to make sure the company is bringing value, as you've said, to the board members. That's their job. They want to see the stock price going up, not down. They want to see value, the capitalization of the company growing and building. That's what the board's traditionally have held the CEOs and the CFOs of these companies' feet to the fire if this isn't happening. I'll give you a great example of what a board should do. I said this during the whole Target debacle. We won't get into all the details. Everybody knows a lot of what happened there with Target. I said the next day that board should immediately fire the CEO. Why? Not because of that particular decision, but think about this. The CEO's in charge of a retail store. The CEO's got one thing he has to do: get feet walking down the aisles. That's all. That's all you care about. I got to get feet. I got to get people in the store. You just alienated 2 million shoppers. You ought to be fired because you've lost your focus on what we're about. We're a retail company. We want to sell stuff to people. These are the kinds of things that the boards are turning. They're looking at everything with these ideological blinders on, and they're missing the very essence, the very reason why they exist and why their company exists. And this is a horrible, horrible thing because you've got thousands of companies listed on the Nasdaq.
Right.
That are going to have to, some of them are going to be forced to do something that they don't want to do.
Well, my prediction, Dan Celia, as we see, woke meets Wall Street, is that you're going to look at, there's going to be unintended consequences, as there are with all of these type of policies, is that you're going to see 10 years down the road, you're going to see there was corruption on these boards, there was other things that were done because businesses were not operating according to business principles, but according to woke social justice principles, and something's going to suffer. Something's going to suffer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're going to suffer. America's going to suffer. Our economies are going to suffer. And jobs are going to suffer. Big businesses are going to suffer. And that's exactly, part of the plan. The elite of Wall Street thinks that they're really just dumb enough, I'm going to say,
right,
which to believe that they're going to always exist. This is not going to hurt them. It is, and it's going to hurt everybody in America. It's very, very sad. This started, by a guy by the name of Larry Fink, BlackRock. This was his whole idea with this social justice roundtable discussions with corporate America. By the way, he's president of BlackRock, the largest money manager in the world. And, so he's got a lot of clout. So, what Larry wants done, everybody's going to fall into lockstep. And
well,
it's sad.
Just for people to kind of consider the numbers here for a moment, since we're talking about business and Nasdaq, there's about 3,000 companies out there that I think they would fall under this provision. And although there seems like there's a gay, lesbian, or transgender identifying character on every channel or commercial these days, the actual reality is far different. Now, this population, which seems to dominate political and cultural conversations, is actually quite small. In 2018,
yes,
Gallup's survey found that LGBT identifying adults made up less than 5% of the country. So you're going to have some of these people serving on multiple boards in order for them to meet, these companies to meet the requirements of Nasdaq.
And as you alluded to earlier, there's no possible way they can be qualified.
Yeah,
this is like Hunter Biden serving on the board of an oil company. You're going to have a whole lot of people that are only qualified to talk about their so-called social justice, agenda. They're not going to be qualified to run a company. It's horrible if you're a stockholder.
And my prediction, Dan Celia, another prediction here today. I'm into predictions. The media will treat the results of this just like they did Hunter Biden. They will bury it, and we will not know the truth.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. That is exactly what's going to happen. And, we've got, again, this party-run media that is, turning more and more into a propaganda machine. and it's going to be devastating for America. And 5% to appease 5%. This is the will of the minority controlling the majority.
And folks, this is all the more reason why we have to speak up about these issues. It's why we need alternative, conservative, Christian, trustworthy media sources, because you cannot trust the mainstream media. And I'm including all of the cable networks in there. I'm including Fox. I'm including CNN, MSNBC. They have all bought into the left's agenda. And you've got to make sure you have trustworthy sources. If Washington Watch isn't what you want, go somewhere and find a conservative source. Of course, we bring you the newsmakers themselves, and you can hear it straight from their lips, unfiltered. Dan, Celia, I want to move on to some economic news. What's happening in the world of jobs? What's happening with the economy? What can we expect in this time of uncertainty?
Well, I think what we can really expect in the short run, the short term, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of change. I think jobs will pick up as the vaccine comes into effect. Whether you believe in all this or not, the vaccine is going to give business sentiment a sense of confidence, and they're going to get back to work again. The question is, how long are they going to work? My biggest concern about the economy is probably 6 to 8 months out, because I think there's going to be a huge wake-up cry from corporate America that's going to say, "Oh my word, what have we done?" And I think that is going to set in. And I think the next, we'll give the first 12 months, somewhat of a pass. But the economy is not going to survive what's going to happen. It's just not. Because I'll just give you an example, Tony. I know that somebody asked me just a little bit ago about why this corona fear is still so persistent after the election. We thought it was going to go away. I said it can't go away. It can't go away for this reason. And this is my prediction. You can take it to the bank. The left cannot allow this thing to pass without taking advantage of this crisis. And Nancy Pelosi will get her wish list of a $4.5 trillion relief bill that is going to complete her wish list, fulfill all the needs of her special interest groups, the lobbyists. It's going to bail out the mismanaged cities that have been mismanaged for 50 years, the mismanaged states that have been mismanaged, the pension funds that have been mismanaged and full of corruption. It's going to bail them all out so they can start all over again doing what they have been doing. And that's where the money's going. It's not going to help us. It's not going to help the economy. It's not going to help the taxpayers. But they need to be able to get this $4 trillion deal. And the only way they can do it is to maintain the fear about this coronavirus. And they're going to come to the rescue with this $4 trillion bill. And if we lose Georgia, they're going to pull it off fairly easily.
Right. And that will only be more of a ball and chain around our economy in the months and years ahead with that type of debt mounting so rapidly. Dan, Celia, out of time. I want to thank you, as always, for joining us. Always great to talk with you.